Hello, Michael Snyder here. What we've just seen overnight is absolutely insane, guys. I've got some video footage to share with you, which is mind-blowing. The Russians had just attacked Ukraine with a massive missile attack, and they actually used, in one instance, a hypersonic ballistic missile. And you're about to see the warheads raining down on the city of Dnipro. This is crazy. This is a massive escalation. This is a huge step toward World War III, nuclear war, all of it, everything we've been warning about. There's been a reason I've been so emotional about this because I understand what the Russians are thinking, how they're viewing this, and they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't consider this to be incredibly serious. They're trying to send us a warning. They just used a missile that could deliver nuclear warheads. Now, they were just conventional warheads, fortunately, but they're sending us a message. And I want you to see this. I want you to see this and look at this with the understanding that the Russians they're doing this to strike back against Ukraine, of course, but they're sending the West a message. And the warnings, the things the Putin and other leaders have said so far, I mean, it's not registering with our leaders. So they're trying to be over the top. They're trying to be really dramatic, saying, look, if you don't stop, this is what we could do. This is how serious we are. So with that being said, on the screen, I have a tweet pulled up by Dmitry Medvedev. And he, as you can see in his description, he's the deputy chair of the Security Council of the Russian Federation. He was a former president of Russia, and he could potentially be the one that ultimately succeeds, Putin. When Putin ultimately is no longer able to serve, he might be the next guy. So this is a very important figure in Russian politics. Former Russian president, as I said, and he could be the next guy. If he is, man, we're going to be in huge trouble because he's even more of a hawk than Putin. He's very, very serious. Well, you read his tweet, he says, so that's what you wanted. Well, you've got it, a hypersonic ballistic missile attack. And let me play this footage for you here. And you can see the warheads raining down on Dnipro, on the city of Dnipro. And this is just dramatic footage. Now, fortunately, they are conventional warheads, so we didn't get the big mushroom cloud in the back. But the message is, look, this is what you wanted. Now you've got it. And this was a very serious attack. But if they were nuclear in nature, if these warheads had been nuclear, we would have seen the big mushroom clouds. And obviously, the entire city of Dnipro would have been wiped out. But that is just astounding to me watching that footage. Let me play it one more time. It's just 12 seconds long, but you can see the warheads just raining down out of the sky, hitting their targets with precision. Just amazing to me. And apparently there's a big military production facility there that was being targeted. But that they're sending us a message. Now let me play you some more footage. This is a tweet about how the Russians have sent a Russian nuclear-powered submarine to Havana, Cuba. Now this is another message. This is another message that they're sending to us, where they're sending this submarine. And now this submarine, the Russian submarines, they've got the ultra quiet submarines. They're called black hole submarines that we can't effectively track them. But in this case, they're kind of publicly steaming in. You can see people are taking pictures and they're publicly announcing it. Why? Because they're saying, hey, look, our submarines can come right up to your coastlines. We could launch nukes at you from our subs. This is another warning. It's another warning to the United States saying, stop it. Stop it. If you escalate, you're going to push us too far. So this is another warning. Another warning. Now, I want to play for you some footage. This is footage of, and let me see if I can move it a little bit higher here. This is footage of a spokeswoman in Russia. She came out and she explained to the press that there's a facility in Poland that's a potential target that the Russians could hit. So let me play this for you. You can see the translation on the screen. I'll just play a few moments of her talking, and I'll be quiet and you can read the translation. But she's talking about the possibility that Russia, because they're saying, hey, United States is a party to this conflict, for we could hit this facility in Poland where you guys are going to be stationing missiles. And so let me play this for you for a few moments. База противоракетной обороны Польши давно пополнила список приоритетных целей для потенциального поражения, что при необходимости может быть обеспечено широким спектром новейших вооружений. So she's saying it's a potential priority target that we could hit it with advanced weapons. And, so the Russians are openly talking about a target in a NATO country, Poland, that where the U.S., they're going to be positioning missiles. Russians are saying, hey, this could be a priority target for us, openly talking about this. Of course, that would mean, an all-out war between the United States and NATO if that happened. But that's very, very serious threat. So, and now let me play for you. I want to play for you just a few moments of Scott Ritter talking about the stakes, in terms of the stakes that we are watching. And I want you to listen to what he has to say here right at the end of this clip.
If the West is wrong and Russia's not bluffing.
So let's see if I can get that. Oops. Okay, well, basically here, I think I need to scroll down a bit. Let me try to play that over again and see if I can get this for you, because he's making such an important point here. Okay.
But it's gambling away all of humanity. If the West is wrong and Russia's not bluffing, there will be a war, and that war will be nuclear, and we will all die.
And that's the stakes. This is why I'm so emotional about this, because Scott Ritter is a former UN weapons inspector. He knows what he's talking about, and he's got contacts inside Russia, and they've been warning him, hey, we're going to hit back really hard, because with the Biden administration said, hey, we're going to give Ukraine long-range missiles, and we're going to let them fire them into Russia. And the UK has done the same thing. And just in the past few days, we saw the ATACMS missiles from the US strike targets deep inside Russia. The Storm Shadow missiles from the United Kingdom being fired deep inside of Russia. And so the Russians are saying, hey, we're going to hit back really hard. And Scott Ritter saying, where is this leading to? It's leading to World War III, is leading to nuclear apocalypse. And he says, we will all die. Because, as I discussed in my previous video, if there is a nuclear war, full-blown nuclear war between the United States and Russia, immediately about somewhere around 20% of the population will die, tens of millions of Americans, but then many more will die in the days following due to the nuclear fallout. And then eventually, because of starvation, disease, complete shutdown of supply chains, no more food in the stores, well, more than 90% of the US population will end up dead, at least, if not even a higher percentage. So Scott Ritter is right. This is what we're facing. Now I want to play you a really quick clip from Tucker Carlson, because he's really got it here. This decision, because we just had an election and Biden's party lost, Trump is coming in. If we're going to have World War III, if we're going to have nuclear destruction, if we're going to have all-out war with Russia, it's a decision that should have been left to Trump. Biden hardly has any time left in his term. Yeah, he's still in the White House. He still has the power to make these decisions, but it's a decision that should have been left to Trump. Instead, the Western elite, the global elite, they kind of conspired together. They're saying, let's rush and do this thing before Trump gets in. Let's make this war. Are they trying to make this war so bad that Trump can't get out of it, or that he's not going to be able to stop it? I don't know. But what they've done is so wrong. And Tucker Carlson makes this point really good in this clip. So let's watch a little bit of this clip.
I think we're watching watching the most evil thing I've ever seen in my lifetime, which is the lame duck administration leaving the next administration with the world war, with the nuclear conflict, by allowing Ukraine, a proxy state of the United States, to strike within Russia. I think that people in Washington misunderstand Vladimir Putin, and they think he's a monarch with absolute power, which is not true. And Russian politics is complex and it's lively, and Putin is very concerned with his approval rating within Russia. He cannot appear weak. That's a huge threat to him. He feels that, I can confirm. If he can't hide attacks on him by the United States through Ukraine, either on Moscow or big civilian casualties, I think he will have no choice, in his view, but to launch like a serious response against Ukraine or NATO countries, or possibly the United States. It seems like the most reckless thing that's ever happened in my life. For Joe Biden, or whoever's acting in his name.
All right, let me stop that right there. But Tucker Carlson, I agree that this is an incredible evil thing that Joe Biden is doing. Literally he saved the worst for last. Most evil, the worst thing that he's done to our country after all the things that Joe Biden has done. Now he's getting us into World War III. Now he's getting a situation where we're facing nuclear war. And, those that have followed my work for a long time know that I've been warning about this for years. In fact, I've been writing about this for over a decade, but even before that, I was warning about where things were eventually going. And now we're here. Now we're on the verge of the unthinkable. We're on the verge of nuclear war. And this is serious. And US officials keep saying, oh, the Russians are bluffing. The Russians are bluffing. The Russians are trying to tell us they aren't bluffing. And this thing that we just saw, the warheads raining down in Dnipro, which, it could have been nuclear warheads. That's what the Russians are trying to tell us. Hey, look, we're raining these warheads down on you. They could have been nuclear. Pay attention. But our leaders continue to think, no, we can push the envelope. No, we can provoke Russia. No, we can do whatever we want. The Russians would never do this. They would never go to actually use nuclear weapons. They would never risk a full-blown war with the United States. It's insane. It's insane. And most people don't realize, they think, oh, the U.S. has such a mighty nuclear arsenal. No, the backbone of our nuclear arsenal is made up of Minuteman missiles, which went into service in the 1970s, hopelessly outdated. Meanwhile, the Russians have cutting-edge, brand new intercontinental ballistic missiles, which are vastly more advanced than anything we have. The Russians also have far more advanced anti-missile systems than we have, far superior to what we have. So we send them Minuteman missiles at them, even if we could get them out of the silos after the Russians sneak attack us. The Russians can, with the S-500 anti-missile systems, they can handle the Minuteman missiles quite easily. People don't understand. Meanwhile, we don't have any protection against their missiles. The whole balance of power since the 70s and 80s, people still think in that paradigm, that term, mutually assured destruction. If we launch, they launch, and we're all destroyed. No. The Russians have super silent black hole submarines which can sneak up to our coastlines undetected, launch their missiles, destroy Washington, D.C. in just a couple minutes before they can even get the president out of bed. Their missiles will be raining down on our missile silos in just a few minutes before we can even, get anyone to decide what to do. Our nuclear silos will be destroyed, and targets will be hit all over the country. People are used to thinking, oh, Russians launch, we've got 20, 30 minutes, whatever, until their missiles get to our country to make some decisions. No. Nuclear subs pop up off the East Coast, West Coast, Gulf of Mexico, fire their missiles. It's just a matter of a couple minutes before it's all over. People don't understand. And the missiles today fly so much faster. The hypersonic missiles, they travel extremely fast. So people don't understand. The whole balance of power has changed. And then anything we are able to get off, with our own nuclear subs, whatever. The nuclear subs are carrying missiles that first went into service in the 1980s. They're also very outdated. And they'll try to get through the Russian anti-missile system, which extremely advanced, S-500, the best in the world by far. People don't understand. The whole balance of power has shifted dramatically in the favor of the Russians. They've been preparing to fight a nuclear war for years. They've been feverishly working on that. Meanwhile, we've been not really doing anything. We've been relying on our technology from the 70s and 80s. Very foolish. Anyway, This is serious. We're not prepared to fight a nuclear war. We don't want to fight a nuclear war. And if we push the Russians, they're not bluffing. If we push them to the point, if the Russians determine that a nuclear war is inevitable, they know there's no winners in a nuclear war. But if they come to the conclusion that a nuclear war with the United States and with the West is inevitable, they will strike first, because they also understand that whoever strikes first in a nuclear war has the best chance of surviving a nuclear war. So this is extremely serious, very frustrating. So we'll see. We need to pray. We need to speak out, because Joe Biden has got us on the brink of the unthinkable. Now, the good news is I don't think we're going to see a full-blown nuclear war yet, because I think the Russians are just hoping somehow to get through this period, to warn Biden, to get Biden and the NATO to back down enough for these next couple of months till Trump can get in. And then they're hoping the last great hope for peace is Trump. If they can just talk to Trump, maybe they can work something out. Maybe, maybe not. They're unsure. They don't know. And then meanwhile, Trump is surrounded by European allies, members of Congress in both parties, most members of Congress in both parties, and even some members of his own administration that he's bringing in that want the war to continue, that want to defeat Russia, that want to keep fighting. So Trump's going to be under a lot of pressure to keep going, not to give the Russians everything they want. Meanwhile, the Russians are winning, and they're like, oh, why should we stop this war in Ukraine if we're winning and we're getting what we want? So it's very uncertain what Trump will be able to do, but the Russians are hoping, hey, if we can just get to January 20th, and we can talk to Trump, we can negotiate something, we can work something out, maybe we can avoid a nuclear war. To the Russians, Trump is the last best hope of avoiding it. Now, if they start dealing with Trump and they come to the conclusion, well, Trump was our best hope of avoiding a war, but we're not going to be able to work out anything with Trump, he's just like the others. If they ultimately come to that conclusion, all bets are off. Then it's on. But for now, we've got this little window. We got a window, okay? If we can just get to January 20th without this thing completely blowing up, I think the Russians want to talk to Trump, and that gives us a little bit of a window before a full-blown nuclear war. But man, this is serious. Man, Biden has brought us right to the edge. And the Russians are not bluffing. They're not messing around. And the global elite may get it to such a level that Trump may not be able to unwind this thing. Things may escalate so much even before Trump gets in that Trump may not be able to undo it, may not be able to reverse course, because we're very dangerously close to a point of no return. So yeah, I'm emotional about this. Those that are criticizing me for being emotional about this, you don't understand. You don't understand. Nuclear war means probably you and pretty much everyone you know is going to die. And that'll be the end of America. So this is serious, guys. This is serious. So please get this information out. Help me get this information out. Share it on your social media. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That helps us with the YouTube getting this out to more people. And there's links and help you get prepared in the description down below. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video.